My name's Luke Beard.
I'm Chris Green.
I'm Riley Gunter.
And I'm Nash Rainey.
And we are
The Backups.
All right, guys, let's get right into college football. The Clemson Tigers defeated South Carolina 16-7 on Saturday in Columbia. Willie B was rocking. I'll give him that. The first sandstorm, I was in the press box and it was shaking. And I have not been in the press box that it was shaking like that, and it was wild. And Nash, I know, had a fantastic experience in Willie B watching the Tigers win. What do y'all think of the game? It was really sloppy. This was a Big Ten West football game. What do we think?
I'll start off. Our wide receiver room arguably is the worst we've had all season right now. We're all banged up. You know, you have Tyler Brown's your best guy out there. Stellato cannot catch a pass to save his life in practically almost every single game this season besides UNC. And so going in, it was going to be a running game, and then we did not rush the ball on third downs. We should have.
I'm glad we won, first of all. Let me just get that out the way. But for the offense, not impressed. I wasn't impressed with that offensive performance.
Just Cade's interception, why throw a jump ball to the smallest receiver on the field?
Yeah, me and my friends, we always looking at that and just shook our heads in disappointment looking at that.
We'll say I used to think, I thought the rule was to tie goes to the offense, but clearly I was wrong because Tyler Brown said the same thing in his post-game press conference. He said he thought it was tie goes to the offense, but I guess that's not the rule. And, both of them had hands on the ball on that interception. So I thought it was a decent jump ball throw, but clearly did not work.
It was a very gritty football game, like honestly speaking. We had an offense that threw the ball for 100 yards. I think this really just, for me, it spoke to our defense, which has been phenomenal all year, and it's really spoken to how good our running backs are. Will Shipley and Phil Maffa both had really good games, and I think they really helped us win by not only advancing us down the field, but also killing a lot of clock, which I think really helped us contain the Gamecocks. And it's frustrating, but I'm glad we won. Yeah, and that's my main priority here.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, it's definitely a big one to have towards the end of the season too. You want to win that. You end your rival's season. I don't know. It was really sloppy. I thought it was a super sloppy game. I really didn't think we competed how we normally do.
Yeah. And
that was rough. The defense looked great. Only touchdown of the game for Clemson was scored on defense by Khalil Barnes, not Brown. But yeah, it was sloppy for the offense, and they need to pick that up if we want to win a bowl game, whoever we play.
Yeah, Khalil Barnes probably had the best possible minute of college football you could have as a defensive player, which good to see as a freshman.
Yep.
That's good hands.
Yeah, super electric player. Ole Miss defeated Mississippi State 17-7 in the Egg Bowl. Another super boring game. There were some good rivalry games this weekend. There were some boring ones, and this was one of them. It was a Thanksgiving game, and Ole Miss did what we expected, and that's win the Egg Bowl. It led to Will Rogers transferring. He's transferring out of Mississippi State. A lot of places he could land. What do y'all think about Ole Miss towards the end of the season now?
I'm biased. Obviously, I have a sister who went to Ole Miss, and I watched this game in full because, we're fans of Ole Miss, and it was the only game on at Thanksgiving. So I think they've been playing well, but obviously I feel like this game kind of maybe speaks against that. I feel like for a team such as Ole Miss, which is kind of, I think, touted for their offense, they really didn't show much.
They didn't show much offense, did they?
You really want to against your biggest rival. So another gritty game that kind of maybe puts the Rebels in a bad light.
Yeah. And it's a rivalry game. It's going to be a tough competitive game, and a lot of rivalry games end up like this where you don't score a lot of points.
Yeah, I knew Mississippi State was going to play better when their coach comes out of the locker room riding an ATV. Only the second time in his life. The first time was getting out onto the field. Yeah,
a lot of respect for him. He picked up a rough job to take towards the end of the season. They were not looking great this season. Clearly, they had a new head coach this season. That did not work out. I know they did just get a hire, though. Yeah. So that'll be big for them. Maybe there's a turnaround at Mississippi State. I'm not sure. But I don't know. They have some time because they're going to have to run a very different offense than they have. Yeah. They were running air raid with Mike Leach, and it's hard to duplicate Mike Leach air raid offense because he was the king of it.
Yeah.
So. Oregon defeated Oregon State 31-7. Oregon is probably the hottest team in college football right now. Bo Nix is the hottest quarterback in college football right now in terms of playing wise, and I think he's had a phenomenal season. He, to me, is the second place for Heisman currently. I think the team around him has helped him a lot.
Yeah.
That defense is exceptional. That's an exceptional Pac-12 defense right there. And, you know, the offensive weapons are also exceptional. He has one of the best O-lines in football. He has great coaching in Dan Lanning. I think this Oregon team is really hot. I'm interested to see what happens in this Washington-Oregon game, the rematch.
Yeah, I mean, watch it, and I didn't watch the whole game, but this is absolutely the kind of game that Oregon needed, not only to give them a lot of momentum going into the Pac-12 championship, but also keep that playoff hope in people's minds. You know, I think if this was a closer game and they lose to Washington, I think people will count them out. When in reality, I think this game kind of proves that, you know, this is absolutely a team that can win and make the playoff, and they're absolutely that kind of caliber. And just, you know, Bo Nix has been crazy this year. I said earlier in the season, I think he was a dark horse for Heisman, but he might just be one of the front runners right about now. So
Might be the front runner.
Might be the front runner.
I think he's right behind Jaden Daniels.
Another banger prediction by myself.
To me, it was a disappointing performance by Oregon State, and it proves again that DJ cannot play football at all during rivalry week. Didn't play too well 2 years at Clemson, and yeah, obviously first quarter you have a 4th and 5 and you can't convert. That's gonna hurt your energy and momentum moving forward. So
I just wanted a good game from these two teams, and I just got a blowout. So yeah.
Yeah, it was a little ugly. Then Michigan defeating Ohio State's huge. I mean, 30-24. Kyle McCord throws the game away.
Literally.
Particularly shocked me. I don't think he's the guy for Ohio State. I don't think he's at the level that a lot of other Ohio State quarterbacks have been, and I think that will, you know, cause issues for this team. He's not Justin Fields. He's not C.J. Stroud. He's not what Dwayne Haskins was for them.
Yeah.
All these guys are exceptional, and Kyle McCord comes in, and he just hasn't done much.
Yeah.
And that's going to cause a lot of issues for your team. And J.J. McCarthy, he's the real deal. I mean, this Michigan team has some players on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, J.J. McCarthy was making NFL throws out there. During the game. It was
Exceptional plays.
He is very good. And Sharon Moore, again, he has had an elite performance as a head coach in his, 3 games he had.
Yeah.
And he has really dictated some wins against some good teams. I'll give it to him. He's had a fantastic coaching performance in these last 3 games. I wouldn't be shocked if he's getting some calls right now from some higher level Division I teams. A lot of Power 5 teams need coaches. I could see him on the list, short list for a lot of teams. But, I mean, yeah, Michigan is right now etched into the playoffs in my mind, barring a huge Iowa upset by a football team. Okay Iowa football team, great defense, one of the worst offenses I've ever watched.
I think I was actually going to run up the scoreboard for this game Saturday.
Yeah, they'll score 10. That's running up for them.
I mean, as we know, Iowa's OC has this clause in his contract that he needs to score 25 points a game. You know, it's a very important.
Hasn't he officially been I don't know if it's true. I saw something that's he's already pretty much gone.
I agree with you, and I think that's the more likely scenario, but I think it'd be very funny if he went to score hundreds of points, hit the 25 points per game, and won the Big Ten. But, speaking on this Michigan-Ohio State game, I felt like this was Ohio State's year to win it. They lost the last 2, and with everything going on with Harbaugh and you know what I mean, it really felt like this was their chance to kind of win the Big Ten and get back on top. But they really, it's just.
The lights got too bright.
Yeah, Ryan Day
got too bright.
has not had a good track record when it comes to Michigan football games.
No.
It wasn't their day.
Nah. Washington squeaked by Washington State, 24-21 win off a last-second field goal. The kicker got on scholarship after the game. That was fun to see, really cool moment. Michael Penix had a decent game, not his best game. I still think he's one of the best quarterbacks in college football. I think Washington's still one of the best teams in college football. And this Oregon-Washington game is going to be huge for playoffs.
Yeah.
Whoever wins that game is in my mind. If Oregon wins, they avenge their single loss at Washington. And if Washington wins, they're undefeated, you go in. You're in if you're undefeated. So.
This is the kind of game I feel like, especially in Washington State case, all they really had to do was stay undefeated. It's not like Oregon where they really needed to prove that they can, take on this bigger team. This is more of, in my mind, Washington just needs to stay undefeated and kind of keep their eyes set on the Pac-12 championship.
A win-and-you're-in mentality, kind of.
Yeah. So this is they did what they needed to do.
Yep.
And sometimes that's all it takes.
They stood on business. You have to handle business. You have to stand on business, and that's what this Washington team's been all about.
Yeah.
Speaking of standing on business, Alabama defeating Auburn 27-24. Jalen Milroe stood on business. I know we had some doubters early in the season. of Jalen Milroe's talents. I've seen, Kirby Smart said that he's like a bigger, stronger, faster Lamar Jackson. I thought that was an interesting take. He is bigger than Lamar Jackson. I think he is stronger. I think he has better arm. At least at this level in college. I don't think
sure.
now. I think Lamar obviously does. But at this level in college, I think Milroe is. I think he will be an elite quarterback. I think he's really talented. He's a freak athlete. He's a big dude. I think he's like 6'2", 220. And he's a really good athlete. And that throw to the back of the end zone on 4th and goal from your own 30, or from not your own 30, from Auburn's 30. Not many quarterbacks are completing a pass right there. And he saw the one guy who could have had a sliver of hope, and he got it perfectly to him. And for anyone who was doubting, Milroe early in the season,
I changed my opinion.
Clearly, you were wrong, and your quarterback outlook isn't very good, and you're typically wrong on quarterbacks. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I've been right on Drake May the past 2 weeks. 2 weeks only.
1 for 10. There you go.
1 for 10.
Got one, but with that game, it was just like I saw people getting excited. Oh yeah, Auburn about to beat them. Auburn about to beat them. I just sat back and stayed quiet because I seen this pattern before. I seen this movie before. Like
I don't know if I've seen something that crazy.
I've seen this with Bama and Auburn. You think Auburn about to pull out the
4th and goal from the 30?
I saw it coming.
I did not see it.
I saw it coming.
I was mesmerized.
I knew something
I think
about
as soon as I saw Auburn's pass rush, I was like, oh no, this could be bad.
I saw
They rushed
it.
2 men.
It was not a single game this
I was
week.
texting the group chat. I said something about to happen, y'all.
You did. You did say someone said
I
Milroe.
said something about
You
to happen.
did say that, yeah.
Saw that.
This game, I remember my oldest brother went to Alabama, and I remember just the reaction in the family group chat after that play, and I was like, of course they do pull this off.
Yeah.
I mean, really impressive final play from them, and also I felt like it was kind of ironic. 10 years ago, Auburn had one of the greatest plays in college football history, if not the greatest, in the kick six to win the football game, and now we have maybe
Alabama
not on that caliber, but
One of the greatest plays I've ever seen.
very, very much up there of a 31-yarder,
Yeah.
4th and goal to win the game. I mean, that's just
Unreal. It's
Unreal.
unreal. That is unprecedented. You don't see that coming often. Anything can happen. That's college football.
I just think Iron Bowl in Jordan O'Hare Stadium, it's always going to be a toss-up.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it's always at Auburn where the game is super close, and I don't feel like it's like Alabama's dominating.
Yeah, and then Kentucky, speaking of anything that happened, though, Kentucky upsetting Louisville. Louisville always struggles against Kentucky.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a very common theme for this Louisville team.
Yeah.
It's upsetting to see happen.
Yeah.
Louisville was a team I was excited to watch. I was excited for that Florida State game. Now, not so much, just because, Florida State's without a starting quarterback. Louisville just lost to Kentucky. There's not much hope for the ACC. If Louisville's to win, there's not going to be an ACC team in the college football playoffs. And, Florida State has to win to be in.
Yeah.
I mean, if they lose, they're out. Especially, you don't have your best player, one of your best players, and you're not undefeated anymore.
Yeah.
And you're not a conference champion. That's really hard to keep yourself in there.
Yeah. Yeah, just a brutal loss. I mean, Louisville, especially with what's going on with FSU and the quarterback situation, this was their year to
Make a statement.
make a statement in that game. And to drop a game to your rival like that, it's just
Heartbreaker.
heartbreaking.
Speaking of Florida State, they beat Florida 24-15, a sloppy game. I mean, it wasn't a great football game.
Yeah.
Florida threw their game away with that late targeting call on Florida State's quarterback that just completely ruined it for him. I mean, I'm not sure what you're doing. That's a throw in the shoe kind of situation where Florida, yet again, fumbles away hopes. And it's just, I don't know what they're thinking there.
Just Florida being unserious.
Yep.
I mean, Florida
This
being
is-
Florida, man.
That's bad football. That's unprofessional. That is a dumb play. It's a stupid play that lost you a game against your biggest rival that you could have won, and you completely throw it away because you target the quarterback who's very clearly on the ground. I'm not sure what you're doing there.
Silly.
It's sloppy.
Floppy.
Then Georgia does the unexpected. No one sees it coming. They beat Georgia Tech. They do it every year. They beat them 31-23. A closer game than I expected, but
Yeah.
I feel like the score doesn't really dictate that this game is a little further away than the score says. Georgia was pretty comfortably in the lead for most.
But yeah, they pretty much had control over the game. But I will say though, Georgia Tech they held their own for like the first couple quarters of the game. Like,
I mean, Georgia Tech's a good team.
yeah,
Yeah.
Don't
like
get me
they heading in the right direction. Like,
Yeah, they're moving
Keep
forward.
us with
They're
UGA.
moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the NFL. The Eagles defeat the Bills 37-34. Action-packed game. Josh Allen can't win in overtime. It's not his fault. He had a great pass to Gabe Davis, who didn't turn his head. Josh Allen's overtime luck yet again strikes. Jalen Hurts just with a walk-in touchdown. Jason Kelce with a great block up front there.
Yeah.
That Eagles offensive line is, they're super. Everyone knows about them now. Everyone talks about them. I still feel like they're disrespected because this is an unreal offensive line unit. There's not many offensive lines in the NFL like this. The Niners are the only team I think has a similar one. Sadly, we don't have any Niners fans to talk about that.
Yeah.
But I feel like the Eagles are just such a complete team in every position on the field. Their quarterback is great. Their receivers are great. They have a great they have a really good running back. I mean, DeAndre Swift has pleasantly surprised me this season. They have one of the best offensive lines in football. Their defense is stacked. They're phenomenal. We watched, I want to say it was Jordan Davis, who tracked down Josh Allen. That's a big dude.
Yeah.
That's not a small man.
That is crazy that he could even.
He is huge.
Yeah.
And he tracked down Josh Allen, who's a quick quarterback. I mean, that's a guy who's known for running the ball.
Yeah.
And Jordan Davis tracked him down. I mean, this is a team that is athletic and they're complete on every aspect of the field. And I wouldn't be shocked if they win the Super Bowl this season.
I could very much see that. The Eagles have been they're doing what they've been doing, and they're just playing really, really good football. And I feel like on the other end of this has just been a disastrous year for the Bills. I mean, I feel like at least I had them very high going in. I felt like that was kind of a common thought that they were going to do much better than where they are, and it's just kind of. I think it's fair to say now that Josh Allen is cursed and will never win an overtime game.
It's looking like it. I mean,
it's not.
It's not looking good for him.
And then the Falcons defeat the Saints 24-15. Falcons are now atop of the NFC South, tied with the Saints, with a negative 19-point differential on the season. But the Falcons, they're an okay team. The Saints are okay. It's 2 5-6 teams, and 4-7 right below them, and the Buccaneers, who haven't had a great season either, and then the Panthers, who are 1-10, who are the worst team in the NFL right now, on record-wise. I'm not saying talent-wise. I'm not going to discredit anyone on the Panthers, but record-wise, they're the worst team in the NFL, and they just fired their head coach. So that doesn't help.
I mean, it was a good win for the Falcons. I mean, you can't lose with T.I. walking you out.
Exactly. And Ludacris flying.
Yeah, and all those Atlanta rappers you had at the game. So
I feel like if you lose while Ludacris is flying in the air, you deserve to lose.
Yeah, you do.
But you know what? The Falcons pulled out. So thanks, Luda. The Niners defeat the Seahawks 31-13 on Thanksgiving. This felt more like a Christmas game. Just the colors. The color scheme is very Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm a little mad this isn't a Christmas game. But, the Niners do what they always do. They are a very good football team.
Went in, took care of business.
They stood on business. They are just a really complete football team. They're still one of the best teams in the NFL. Too bad we don't have a Niners fan to talk about them.
Surprised they're a 3-point favorite for the game against the Eagles this weekend. And it's in Philly, which is surprising to me.
I mean, those are the two best teams in the NFC.
Yeah.
I don't think it's really close, in my opinion. I think these are very, very clearly the upper echelon of the NFC, possibly the upper echelon of the NFL.
Yeah.
So I think these are the two best teams this is going to be one of the best matchups we'll see. This feels like a Patrick Mahomes, Jared Goff masterclass of the Chiefs-Rams.
2018.
2018 Monday Night
they got
Football.
specified a year.
Yep. And then Packers defeat the Lions 29-22, also on Thanksgiving. The Lions don't win on Thanksgiving very often.
They don't.
They need to stop playing on Thanksgiving, but they won't. But it happens. Chris, I'll let you talk about the Packers.
I mean, it was just a game. I just looked at on the schedule. I was like, we about to lose. I mean, with how the season had been going, I was like, we about to lose. And then they were like, we got 17 players on IR. So I was like, we definitely about to lose this game. Then the game started, and we bombed it for 53 yards.
Jordan Love's first pass was a beautiful.
And then I was like, okay, man, we scored. And then I was like, okay, we might pull it off. And then we did.
He completely slashed through the defense right there. The Lions secondary had
he's been having a good few weeks recently.
Yeah, he's resurged. He's having a good resurgence towards this second half.
I'm typically not one to be very superstitious, but I did see an account on Twitter that said since the NFL-AFL merger.
The waning moon tweet?
Yes. The
Lions are what? Is it? It's
Lions,
like 0-11, 0-12, 0-13.
0-12 going into the game on Thanksgiving games when the moon is, I believe.
I think it's a waning phase.
Waning phase.
Like a waning gibbous, maybe?
I'm looking it up now.
I think it was a waning gibbous, and they are now 0-13. So the Lions.
I just looked it up. The Lions were 0-12 entering in Thanksgiving games when the moon was in a waxing gibbous phase.
Gibbous, gotcha.
The moon was in a waxing gibbous phase, and they lost.
Yep.
So I think that the Lions, I've seen a lot of funny tweets about it, but I think there is serious talks for the Lions to blow up the moon during Thanksgiving weeks, but
They could call a certain supervillain who could possibly steal the moon for him.
steal the moon
I've heard his name is Gru.
only for Thanksgiving weekend.
I've heard
if it's
of a
waxing.
Gru. That's all I'm saying.
Heard of a group.
And then the Titans defeat the Panthers 17-10. Yeah. I mean, Nash, do you have anything you want to say about it, or you just want to skip through?
I would. David Tepper's not a good owner, and Frank Reich was a scapegoat, and him getting fired is just David Tepper making excuses for poor ownership decisions. And I hate this team, and keep pounding, and see you next Sunday.
Title charge starts now.
Charge starts in 2026, week
You can
1.
still make the playoffs. Still have a chance.
They already.
You have a chance.
No, well, mathematically we have a chance. Like
They already got eliminated.
Now, if they win out, and every other team loses,
Oh, well,
that
that's not happening.
requires us to
That
win
ain't happening.
more than one game.
they might have already been eliminated.
Yeah, they already.
That requires us to win more than 2 games, which we haven't won 2 games the whole year. So
Sure.
keep pounding, baby.
Let's move on to the NBA. The Orlando Magic on a 7-game win streak. This is a really exciting basketball game to me. I think Paolo Banchero is one of the most exciting players in basketball to me. Cole Anthony's been super efficient. He's still coming off the bench, right? I
I believe so. Yeah.
He is one of my favorite bench players in the league. I think he is really good off the bench. He's a starting caliber player who they have in a good role, and he's done super well. So, I mean, the Magic are a good NBA team, I think. I think they're back to kind of building themselves back up to a higher level NBA team. And they're fun to watch. They're a fun team to watch.
That's just
Paolo's one of my favorite players to watch.
That's just an example of like a young core coming together and finally doing
finally
what they
meshing.
say. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and that's what the NBA needs to see. They need to see, a young Magic team. You have the young Thunder who are really fun to watch. Pelicans team that has some young pieces here have become fun to watch. A lot of these teams are really meshing together and just playing good basketball. We saw the Cavs do it recently a couple years ago. They kind of had that resurgence into, a higher caliber basketball team. And then Donovan Mitchell being added, kept boosting them up. And I think the Magic could add a superstar like that. That would this team would be scary.
Yeah.
A scary team to go through in the East. LaMelo Ball expected to miss some time. Nash, I'll let you talk about LaMelo Ball. I know you're heartbroken for him.
Yeah, being a Charlotte sports fan is just not easy. We don't really have what you'd call good sports teams. But, I mean, it keeps getting worse, man. LaMelo Ball's like the one bright spot on that whole team, and of course he was the one to go out for a few weeks.
Miles Bridges has played well this season, too. I'll give it to him.
But
he's played really well for having a season off.
Yeah.
He has played really well.
He's been playing well, but it's also like you missing LaMelo Ball. Right?
yeah.
Yeah, you're missing your star player.
Yeah.
You're missing your best player. That doesn't help.
That's still pretty big.
I still think they have some good pieces, but I think it's going to be hard for them
to win games.
to win without your top guy.
It's just, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah.
You hate to see it. That's really all I can say as a fan.
Especially, he was just in headlines for his Thanksgiving post-game interview, which was really funny to watch.
Yeah.
Pretty funny interview. I mean,
Yeah.
he's always fun when he has a hot mic on him. So, go Melo. Hornets title charge. When does it start, Nash?
I'm gonna say.
Are you looking for when their next game is?
Yeah, I'm looking for one of our next games.
Starting next game. Title
Starting next game.
And then the Rookie of the Year race. I think Chet has finally overtaken Wemby.
Yeah, I think so,
he hasn't bounced him out.
Yeah,
Wemby's definitely not done.
Yeah, I had a little argument with some family members about that. They thought it was Wemby, but I was telling them it's Chet, man.
If you look at the stats, if you look at the role they're playing on the team, it's Chet.
Yeah.
Chet has very similar stats to Wemby.
But on better efficiency as well.
Better efficiency. He's the third option on the team.
Yeah.
And Wembanyama's the first option for his team. But I will say the Thunder team is a lot better at facilitating the ball.
Yeah.
I've seen some Wembanyama clips where they just haven't given him the ball wide open in the paint. I think that's an issue you got to fix.
Yeah.
And I expect Popovich to fix it. I have faith in Greg Popovich. He's one of the greatest coaches ever for a reason.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried if I'm Wembanyama. I still think he could win it. It's going to be a very fun race.
And plus, it's still a long season. We still got a long way to go.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun race. And then we have Premier League, Liverpool drawing Man City. Chris, go on.
I mean, at the beginning of the first half, I saw that first goal. It was not a fun goal to look at. It was sloppy, but you know, Trent saved us at the 80th minute, tied the game. And yeah,
Trent's a good player.
Yeah,
Good player.
yeah.
I believe during that game, it was Erling Haaland became the fastest player in Premier League history to get to 50 goals.
He did. Yep. Yeah, I mean, he's elite.
Yeah,
It's still clear. He's
Like coming out that game
won
with,
Ballon d'Or.
yeah, coming out of that game with a draw, I was just like, okay, I'll take that.
Yeah, it's not a loss.
Yeah, it's not a
You
loss.
get points on the table. Teams that didn't get points, West Ham got points with, 2 goals in the final 5 minutes?
Yeah,
Something ridiculous. Against Burnley. Nash, go ahead.
As being a fan of a team like this, a win, that's a big thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who's against.
Burnley doesn't get them much.
You don't get ties. You don't really get points on the table much. So when I saw the Burnley score a goal in the coming out of the first half, I thought, okay, this is it. We got this. And then I was expecting an equalizer to come at some point in the game. I was constantly refreshing on my phone. I was like, it's going to come sometime. Then we got to the 80th minute, and I was like, okay, we got this.
You got it.
It's super easy to hold a 1-goal lead with 10 minutes left. 86th minute, they score one, and you're like, okay, that sucks. It's really heartbreaking. But you know what? We can pull through. We can persevere. We can, come out of this game with 1 point on the table. And then in extra time, they score a second goal, and it breaks your heart, man. It sucks. This team, I want them to do well, but I don't think they want to do well. No, they do want to do well. They just, I don't know, man.
And then the table topping, Arsenal, the Gunners. They defeat Brentford 1-0.
Kai Havertz, 89th minute finisher, was just.
He's a goat, man. He's
Good
a
to
real
see him
deal.
because the past week he's been playing left back for Germany's national team, which is a little odd to me having him at left back, but he's a striker.
It worked. Hey,
Striker.
it works. It's Germany. They put anyone anywhere. But yeah, no, Arsenal, at the top of the table, it feels good. Feels good being a fan of a team like this. We have two very different sides of the table on this table. Now, Arsenal 1, Burnley 20. Very interesting to see how that happens, and Brighton has continued their downhill slide. Did I just skip the Brighton game?
Yes.
I'm so sorry. Speaking of Brighton's downhill slide, they
It's
did
not
get
a
win.
downhill slide. Brighton won a Premier League game for the first time in a month, and I was ecstatic. Started off 3 minutes, Nottingham Forest scored. I was decimated. I was scared because at Nottingham Forest,
You were decimated.
Yeah.
What happened?
The City Ground is not an easy place to play, as Nottingham Forest has only lost 3 times prior to this game in their own stadium. But not ever this past year. Past year, not ever. That'd be crazy.
That'd be ridiculous.
But Brighton pulls away 3-2. Banged up team, have our pretty much entire starting 11 injured. Our English captain, Lewis Dunk, got a red card for telling the ref he was a bald prick. And now he's suspended for 3 games.
I don't know if you're allowed to say that, but you know what they say about Nottingham. You ever heard of Robin Hood from the Sherwood Forest, right outside of Nottinghamshire, England? Clearly, they need a Robin Hood on that team, and I think there's only one man to call. You get a lone fan. I've heard of fans being loaned off. Young Kippa. He's a TikTok megastar. I mean, superstar on TikTok.
Yeah.
This guy loves Chelsea football. And if Nottingham can get their Robin Hood, he's going to steal from the rich and give to the poor. He's going to take all his Chelsea players and put them into Nottingham Forest, and they'll be at the top of the table, calling it now. Then Aston Villa defeated Tottenham 2-1. Tottenham's downhill slide has continued. They're at the top of the table not very long ago. They're now 5th on the table. Aston Villa now goes up to 4th to jump them. So, that's huge.
They're dealing with a lot of injuries.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like if you're at the top of the table for most of the time,
You can't slide this quickly.
Yeah.
You have to pick up some wins, and they haven't been doing it well recently. Let's kick into overtime, Chris. I know you want to talk about.
Let's just discuss the elephant in the room. CM Punk, man.
It's clobbering time.
CM Punk back. I kind of saw it happening, but I didn't think it was. Part of me was telling myself, he not coming back for real. But my friend in the party, he was like, "Oh, CM Punk came back." I said, "You lying." And he sent the picture. I was like, "Oh my God, he actually back."
First time since 2014.
Yeah, since 2014.
That he's been back. He cut a promo on Raw last night. It was an all right promo. You know, he was talking well about the company, which he hasn't done in a long time, so that's fun to watch. But huge for wrestling, huge for new wrestling fans like
Good to see him
like
back.
y'all. Getting in and seeing CM Punk will be very fun for y'all. Getting your first glimpse at him, what he can really do. This guy's an elite athlete and an elite wrestler.
Yeah.
Really fun to watch.
One of the greatest to ever do it.
Yep. Riley, you want to talk about some deductions?
So yeah, Everton in the Premier League got a 10-point deduction for some financial rules that they just broke. And even though they lost 10 points, they are still above Burnley on the table, which says a lot about your club. But as well as these same financial allegations that happened to them, Chelsea and Man City have also fallen into them, which means Chelsea and Man City can be relegated. But there's no way they're going to do that.
Yeah.
Two of the top Premier teams in
Yeah,
the world.
I would be shocked if they did. Yeah, there's so much money in those clubs, and it would be ridiculous to see Man City and Chelsea get relegated. Sorry, I beat him 2 out of 3. You know, the man I just beat wants to talk about the team we beat Saturday night, Nash.
Right. I was in Columbia visiting a old high school friend for the game. I had decided to show up in a Clemson jersey because I thought, you know, this is a rivalry game. You know, I got to show out. I gotta experience what Columbia has to offer. And all I have to say is, my friend was lucky enough and kind enough to give me a student section ticket, so I was in the student section for that
We won't
game.
say any names.
And I won't say anything. Well, I will say a lot of things. There was a lot of obscenities thrown towards me, a lot of rude gestures. You know, people just really, I guess, did not like me being there.
Understandable.
Which I get, you
Yeah.
know. I understand.
You saw
I'm
it
in your
coming.
student section. It wasn't something I didn't deserve, I felt like. Just a little bit, but it was just surprising to see how hate-filled those people are, and it made it all the better when we beat them in Columbia.
I texted you before to watch out because I knew what was coming your way.
Yeah.
I've seen it before at many different schools happening, but in Columbia, I've seen it before. I grew up there, so I've seen people have bad reactions there, and I understand it. If you know, my rival is coming into my student section, I'm not going to be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe I wouldn't say all the things they said to you, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't be happy. So I don't know. I want to talk about NCAA basketball real quick. Purdue is by far the best team in the country right now. They are on a hot streak, and they are just really fun to watch. Zach Edey, still really good. And this will be a team that will get far. They'll probably get number 1 seed again. I don't know if they'll get knocked out by a 16 this year. I would be shocked if they did. But hey, anything could happen. It's March Madness. Fairleigh Dickinson. Always remember the name. And then I'm just gonna congratulate the University of South Carolina, their women's basketball team, for winning the national championship. Season just started. They've won the national championship. This is by far the best team in college basketball overall.
Yeah.
Not a single women's basketball team will get close to beating this team, and I don't think they get a loss on the season. I think they go undefeated the entire season. They win it all.
I mean, I can see it.
They have dominated
They're
in
looking
every
right
game
now.
they've played. There's not a single game they've been close in. They beat us by 69.
Yeah.
That's insane. So yeah, congratulations to the Gamecocks. I think that's all we have, and we will see y'all next week.